Hey guys, this is Jason at Distress Loan Advisors. As always, you can contact me through all of the contact information that's currently on your screen. In today's episode, we are going to talk about SBA offer and compromise and all the bad things that can happen to you if you default on an SBA loan. I'm going to do this one in a question and answer format since a lot of the times people are asking me questions and I'm just responding. So without further ado, here are some of the common questions that I get from people. Actually, the first one is actually less common, but I have had people ask me, will they put me in jail? Chances are no, they will not put you in jail. Can they put you in jail? In very limited circumstances, and I'll just explain. Basically, if a bank were to get a judgment against you and follow up with something called an information subpoena, you are legally required to respond to that. And if you don't, if the bank really wants to be mean about it, they could actually issue a summons for your arrest if you fail to respond to the information subpoena. But again, very rarely happens. For 99.99% of people, going to jail is not an issue. So it's not something I would worry about. Simply defaulting on a loan, they're not going to send you to jail for that. The second question, can they take my home? It depends. If you pledged your home as collateral and there is a sufficient amount of equity in it, it is possible that the bank is going to want to foreclose. The bank I worked for, we had a threshold of about $40,000. So if we thought after all liquidation costs that there was going to be equity in the property, then we would pursue it. If there's no equity in the property, then chances are the bank's not going to pursue it, because the only reason they're going to foreclose on your home is if they think they can get money out of it. And that's usually in the case of where you've pledged your home. Now, if you didn't pledge your home, chances are they are not going to go after it. I guess technically it is possible, but I have not seen it happen. It may impact your ability to settle, but generally they don't go after your home if you haven't specifically pledged it. It does vary from state to state, though. All right, moving on. Can they garnish my wages? Yes, they can, and they very often will. Either the bank can get a judgment and garnish your wages, and one of the the Treasury's favorite collection tool is actually wage garnishment. Can they take my tax refund? Yes, this is something they do all the time. It's called Treasury Offset Program. More or less, they plug your Social Security number in, and if you're entitled to a tax refund at some point, this would be a federal tax refund, they will take that refund. Another common question, can they garnish my spouse's wages if they did not guarantee? The answer to that is no. If your spouse is not personally liable to the debt, any assets that belong to them and them only, such as their income, is not something that can be touched. All right, moving on. Can they take my car, my lawnmower, my prize stamp collection, anything that I own? The answer is possible, but in my experience, not likely. So lenders really only want to go after a few significant assets that have real liquidation value. So if you have jewelry or expensive art or something like that, they might go after those items, but your 2001 Toyota Camry, it's probably safe, because by the time they hire repo guys to take it and then they have to store it and then to sell it, it's really unlikely that they're going to raise enough cash to justify it. So the big things that they look for: cash in an account, equity in your home, and things that can very easily be converted to cash. Next question. Can they shut down my other business that didn't guarantee the debt? Technically they can. I haven't seen it very frequently. Because that other business is owned by you, technically it is an asset or a source of income, and so that entity would be fair game if the bank chose to go after all of your personal assets, assuming that you own that business personally. Can they still come after me if I file for bankruptcy? Sorry, let me repeat that question. Can they come after me if my business files for bankruptcy? The answer to that is yes. In almost every case that I have ever seen, there is a personal guarantee that goes along with whatever SBA loan you take. So even if the business is no longer liable, you personally will be responsible. So I do have people that come to me from time to time and say, whoa, I had an LLC or I had a corporation. Wasn't that supposed to protect me? The answer is the banks understand that if this LLC or corporation goes under, it's really you personally that's going to be able to pay, and that's why they require a personal guarantee in almost every situation. And the last question we're going to cover, can the IRS come after me since the SBA is part of the Treasury? Technically, yeah. So what they will do is, again, I said this earlier, they can put you in the Treasury offset program, whereas they're going to see if you file your tax returns, and if you get a refund, they're going to garnish those funds and apply them to a loan balance. Likewise, they can also garnish Social Security, and as I mentioned earlier, they can also garnish wages. So that's, of course, not an exhaustive list, but that is a list of bad things that can happen to you if you default on an SBA loan. So that's it for this episode. If you have any questions, feel free to call me at the number on the screen, or email me, or feel free to visit my website. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.